Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to do P1 of October-November 2023, P11, right? Let's see question number one. In which change do the particles move further apart? So we have to see, for example, it should be from solid to liquid, or it may be from liquid to gas, right? So we have to check all the option. A gas is heated from 0 to 25 degrees Celsius. So obviously when gas is heated, the molecules will go away from each other. So first one could be right. Pressure is applied to a gas at a constant temperature. When we apply the pressure, volume decreases. And when volume decreases, it means particles come closer together. So it cannot be. Steam condenses to form water. It's a conversion from gas to liquid, right? Then when particles come closer, not this one. Water evaporates at room temperature. Evaporation means that it's the changing of liquid into vapors phase, into gaseous phase. That is, the particles move away from each other. So 1 and 4 are the right answers. So over here, B is the correct option. Now, let's see next question. Question number 2. Data about two compounds is given. Both compounds have a simple molecular structure and melting and the boiling points are given. Two bottles are placed close together inside a large container at a temperature of 90 degree. So one bottle contains 1 gram H2S and the other bottle contains 1 gram PCl3. A detector is placed in the container 2 meters away from the bottle. The two bottles are open at the same time. Which row is correct? Compound that reaches detector first. So first of all, we have to check the number of moles of this one. Gas diffuses faster than liquid P. So sulfur mass is 32 and hydrogen is 2, so it is 34. But when we talk about PCl3, as chlorine is having 35.5, so obviously this one is heavier, right? So compound that reaches detector first, so H2S, uh, but it's heavier in a way. Its MR is more, but when you take 1 gram, so 1 divided by that particular MR higher number, so it means that less number of moles basically. When less number of moles are there, MR is heavier. Okay. As the MR of H2S is lower, so B should diffuse faster. But we have to check maybe A or B, right? So gas diffuses faster than liquid. H2S has a lower MR than PCl3, right? So this could be the reason, because rate of diffusion is dependent upon the temperature and the MR of the molecule. So as the masses are same, so we have to just check the MR of the molecules. So whose MR is smaller, that will diffuse faster. Okay, now see the next question. Substances can be elements, compounds, or mixture. Which row is correct? Okay, if we see the element, methane is a compound, so it cannot be. It could be A, C, or D. So according to the element, these are correct. Now, compound, brass is not a compound; it's a mixture. So now we have the option C and D. It could be. Um, because carbon dioxide and glucose both are compounds, right? Now let's see mixtures. Water vapor and air is a mixture. So according to this one, D is the correct answer, right? So you may shortlist your option in this way. Now see question number 4 now. Okay, the letter X, Y, and Z represent different atoms, which is statement incorrect. X and Y are the same element. It could be the same element because they have same number of protons. X and Z are the same element? No, because they don't have same number of protons, because proton is the identity. So over here we can see straight away A is the right answer, right? Because we have observed the proton number, and proton number is the identity. Mass number could be different because they may be the isotopes, right? So A is the correct answer over here. A student makes three statements. Calcium ion have +2 charge and oxide ions have a -2 charge. Okay, magnesium ions and oxide ions have the same electronic configuration as neon. Okay, calcium ions have 3 full electron shells and magnesium ions have 2 full electron shells. Which statements are correct? So we have to check. First one is correct because calcium belongs to group 2, so its charge is +2, and oxide have a charge of -2, right? Magnesium ions and oxide ions have the same electronic configuration. So magnesium is 282 when it is an ion, so it will be 28, right? In the same way, oxide ion is -2. Its electronic configuration is 26, but when it takes electrons, so it is 28. And this one, calcium ion have 3 full electron shells, and magnesium ions have 2 full electron shells. This one is correct because it's, let's see, it's calcium, it's 20, basically it's 2, 8, and 8. After giving electron, it will be 288 for calcium, and for magnesium it is 28, right? So all the 3 statements are correct, so A is the right answer. Now 4 statements about graphite, diamond, and silicon 4 oxides are listed. Now let's check question number 6. Now it's diamond and silicon oxide are both very hard and have similar structures. They both are macromolecules, covalent molecules. So this one is right. In diamond, each carbon atom is joined to 4 other carbon atoms, right? Because in graphite, 1 carbon atom is joined with 3 other. Silicon oxide forms the giant structure of silicon and oxygen atoms, right? Silicon 4 oxide is a giant macromolecular structure. Diamond and graphite both conduct electricity because they are both forms of carbon. That is correct that they are both forms of carbon, but both of them won't conduct electricity. Only graphite can conduct electricity because in graphite, every carbon is having 1 electron which is not involved in the bonding and which can be delocalized. Because of it, it can conduct electricity. So over here, A is the correct answer. Now, question number 7, which row is correct? Let's see, ammonia and the molecular formula are given with the name of the compound, so we have to check them. Um, ammonia is NH3. Ethene is C2H4 because it's unsaturated hydrocarbon. Methanol and propanoic acid. For methanol, the formula is CH3OH, right? And for propanoic acid, it is C2H5 and COH, if you know the general formula. Now we have to check. Okay, carbon 3, hydrogen 6. This one is not correct. Carbon 1, hydrogen 4, and O. So C is the right answer. Right. Compound Y is the only substance formed when 500 cubic centimeter of ammonia reacts with 250 cubic centimeter of carbon dioxide. All measurements are at room temperature. Right, now we have to check that which can be produced. Okay, ammonia and 500 cubic centimeter. So 500 cubic centimeter means that you just convert it into moles. No? 500 is the volume, so divided by 24 because volume is equal to number of moles into 24,000. So for number of moles, just divide 500 with 24,000. So let me check the answer of this one. If I just calculated, it's 500 divided by 24,000. So it is 0.02, 0.02 moles, right? And for 250 cubic centimeter, 250 divided by 24,000, so it is 0.01. So we can see it is 2:1. It means 2 moles of ammonia and 1 mole of carbon dioxide. They react. Now you can see it's 2 nitrogen atoms, 6 hydrogen atoms, 1 carbon, and 2 oxygen. Now you have to check which one is having 2 nitrogen, 6 hydrogen. So this one is the correct answer. 1 carbon and 2 oxygen. right? So only this one is the correct answer. Now for question number 9, how many sodium ions are there in 30 grams of sodium sulfate? So first of all, we need to convert it into moles, right? So 30 divided by, for sodium sulfate, it's Na2SO4. Let's check its MR. It is 23 plus 23 plus 32. 23 plus 23 plus 32 plus for oxygen it's 16 multiplied by 4, that is 64. So 142 is the MR, right? So 30 divided by 142. So it is 0.211. These are the moles of sodium sulfate. Okay, it's about the sodium ions. So in 1 mole of sodium sulfate, 2 moles of sodium ions are there, right? So it is, because when we find out the number of particles, we multiply it by 6.02 into 10 raised to the power 23. So if I multiply it with 6.02 into 10 raised to the power 23, so it will be 1.27 multiplied by 2. It is 2.54 basically. This is the correct answer. How it comes? Because when we have to find out the number of particles now, for example, here I have the moles. So if I have to find out the number of molecules of sodium sulfate, so I just multiply it by 6.02 into 10 raised to the power 23. So I'll get the number of molecules. Then I know in 1 molecule I'm having 2 ions of sodium. So then I have to multiply it by 2. So my answer is B in this case, right? Now for the next question, question number 10. 3 compounds are listed: copper 2 nitrate, zinc sulfate, and sodium thiosulfate. Which row shows the element that is present in the greatest percentage by mass in each compound? Here the MRs are given, right? Now you can find out from the MR that which one contains the greatest. Okay, let's start with the copper, right? The copper nitrate, whether copper or oxygen, right? So copper is 64, I think it's 64 divided by 188. So I'll get the percentage, right? So 64 divided by 188, it is 34%. And for oxygen, it is 3 to the 6, meaning 16 multiplied by 6, that is 96 divided by 188. I think its percentage will be lower. It's no, 96 divided by 188. Its percentage will be higher, so 51%. So it means not copper. We may have oxygen, right? C or D could be the answer. Now it's better because in both the options zinc is given now, so it's better to find out about sodium and sulfur in the case of sodium thiosulfate, right? Sodium thiosulfate, 2 times sodium is there, so it will be 23 multiplied by 2 divided by 158. Then obviously you need to multiply by 100 to find out the percentage. So it is 23 multiplied by 2 divided by 188, so it is 24%. Acha, for sulfur, sulfur is 32, 32 multiplied by 2 because 2 atoms are there, so 32 multiplied by 2 and divided by 158. So for sulfur, it is 40%. So hopefully B is the correct answer for question number 10, right? Now the next one is question number 11. The complete combustion of 20 cubic centimeter of gaseous alkane requires 130 cubic centimeter of oxygen. As both of them are gaseous state, so we can take their volumes as moles, right? For example, I can say that 2 moles of this hydrocarbon requires 13 cubic centimeter of oxygen, right? Okay, now just see the options here. That's it. Let's check with the with butane. So butane is C4H10, right? And plus oxygen. So I'll get carbon dioxide and water, right? So let's balance this equation. It's 4. So if I put 4 over there for oxygen, for hydrogen, I have to put 5. 9, 13. 13, it's oxygen 13 is there. No? So 13 upon 2. So option A is the correct option because if I just multiply the whole equation by 2, it will be 2 over here. It will be 13 over there. It will be 8 over there and it will be 10 over there. So option A is the correct answer here. Now for question number 12, aqueous copper 2 sulfate is electrolyzed using copper electrode. What is the equation for the reaction occurring at the anode? It's copper sulfate, so we are having copper cation and hydrogen cations, right? Now, according to the series, the reactivity series, it is easy for copper ions to be oxidized, right? So, but if they will move towards cathode, but when we talk about anode, we are having uh, for check for copper to using copper electrode. Okay, it's about active electrode system. So when we talk about active electrode system at cathode, copper ions will move while anode get dissolved. So over here A is the right option because we don't have to think about the rest of the ions because it's we are using copper sulfate and copper electrodes, right? So that's why its cation is cathode copper plus 2 ion will going to be reduced, but for anions for anode, not nines, for anode, copper electrode will get dissolved, right? So over here A is the correct option. Let's see question number 13. Three statements about fuel cells are given. Oxygen hydrogen fuel cell, it is hydrogen fuel cell requires a continuous input of fuel and oxygen. This is right. In hydrogen oxygen, hydrogen is burned in oxygen to produce electricity. Hydrogen is burned in oxygen to produce electricity. Mm, it's not the burning basically. So two cannot be right. When a hydrogen fuel is operating, water is the only product. This one is right. Water is the only product. So here 1 and 3. We are not burning hydrogen basically there. Question number 14 is under certain conditions, nitrogen reacts with oxygen to form N2O. The reaction pathway diagram is shown. What is activation energy for the reverse reaction? Now just see the activation energy is this basically for the forward reaction. If we talk about the reverse reaction, so then activation energy, because then this one will be your reactant, right? And this one will be your product. So at that time, the activation energy will be this. From reactant till the peak is the activation energy. So it means that it is 447 minus 167. And always it should be plus. Activation energy should be always positive. Right? So for 14, the answer is if you just subtract the value, right? So it is D, that is 238, right? It's always plus. Activation energy is always positive. Now for question number 15, hydrogen and bromine reacts to form hydrogen bromide. Energy, bond energy data is given. What is the enthalpy change for this reaction, right? So you have to check H2, it's 436, it's 193, and HBr is 366 multiplied by 2 because here 2 times these bonds are there. HBr, HBr, right? So we need to multiply it by 2. Now just add these two values, multiply these two, and find out the difference between them. So when you find out the difference between them, this one is basically energy released, and this one is energy absorbed because bonds are broken here, When the bonds are formed, energy is released. Now you have to check which energy is higher, right? If energy release is higher, then delta H will be negative, right? If energy absorbed is higher, then delta H will be positive. Otherwise, just subtract the product minus the reactants, right? So here B is the correct answer if you just find the difference between them. 16 is octane is a hydrocarbon. When octane is mixed with the next, no change takes place unless energy is supplied. Okay, if energy is supplied in the form of heat or electricity, a change takes place quickly. The product of this change include carbon dioxide. Which part of this description show that change is a chemical change? Octane is a hydrocarbon. Okay, no change takes place unless energy is supplied. The change takes place quickly. Carbon dioxide gas is produced. For 16B is the right answer, not the rest of them, because a chemical change is a change when a new thing is produced. Whether you supply energy or you do not supply energy, whether it takes place with the element or with a compound, right? Whether it takes place quickly or it takes time. But chemical change is when something new is produced. So carbon dioxide is a new thing which is produced from hydrocarbon. So for 16D is the right option. Now let's see the next question, number 17. A student plans to investigate how the rate of the reaction changes when hydrochloric acid and calcium carbonate react. Three methods are described there. Which method could be used to measure how the rate of the reaction changes? So we can find out the rate of the reaction by measuring the change in the mass or by measuring the gas produced, the volume of the gas produced, right? Or how quicker the lime water becomes milky if we are using in the case of carbon dioxide, right? So let's see that which are the correct options here. So if we see this one, the first one, record the mass of the flask and the contents every 30 seconds for 5 minutes. Okay, every 30 seconds for 5 minutes we can do this thing, right? Okay, for this one, it is measure and record the volume of the gas in the syringe after 30 seconds. Um, after 30 seconds, because for 5 minutes we are doing it now. We don't know whether it will be completed in 30 seconds. It won't be, obviously, it takes time. So um, we cannot go for this one. Let's see the third one. Calcium, we count and record the total number of bubbles, okay, of the gas in water every 30 seconds for 5 minutes. We can do this thing because in both the cases the timings are same, right? Over here the problem is only with the time, otherwise rest of the things are correct. So 1 and 3 will be the right answer, that is the C one, right? Now question number 18 is aqueous bromine is an equilibrium mixture. Okay, aqueous bromine is orange in color. The species on the right hand side of the equation are colorless. Okay, this one is orange while this one is colorless. Changes are made to three separate portions of the which row shows how the color of the mixture changes when a small amount of each substance is added. Okay, adding sulfuric acid. If I add sulfuric acid, then it will become darker orange because when we add sulfuric acid, backward reaction will be favored because H ions are there. Adding solid sodium bromide. Okay, if add sodium bromide solid, it means I'm adding basically because it get dissolved in water, so I'm getting the bromide ions. So obviously again it favors the backward reaction because when we add something on the product side, it means that it favors the backward reaction. Okay, if I add water, so when we add water, it favors the forward reaction, right? So when it favors the forward reaction, it will become lighter in color. So darker, darker, darker orange, no, darker, darker, and paler orange. So B is the right option here, right? Because when it favors the backward, so orange color appears. When it favors the forward, color become lighter, that is paler orange, right? So here B is the correct answer. Now for question number 19, in which substances does the nitrogen atom have the same oxidation number as the nitrogen atom in the HNO2? Okay, in which substance? So first of all, we need to find out the oxidation of number of nitrogen over here, HNO2. Oxygen is -2, two atoms are there, so it is -4. Hydrogen is +1, it means nitrogen will be +3, right? Okay, over here For question number 19, if we check this one, fluorine is -1, so it is -3. It's assuming assumptions are given about these. Huh? So its nitrogen is -3 because for 1 it is -1, so it will be +3. So straight away we got it that A is the correct answer. Right? So rest of them are not correct because its oxygen is -2, so it is +2. Over here oxygen is -4 and overall charge is +1, so it means it should be +5 over here, right? Over here if we take hydrogen as +1, right? So hydrogen 4 atoms are there, so it is +4, but the overall charge is +1, so nitrogen is -3 over there, right? So A is the correct answer. Question number 20 is lime water is aqueous calcium hydroxide. Which statement about lime water is correct? It has a pH below 7. It's not acidic, it's basic basically. So A cannot be the right answer. Okay, it gives a blue-green color in the flame test. No, copper gives blue-green color. It reacts with ammonia to form ammonium salts. For ammonia, ammonium salts can be produced when we are using acids. It turns yellow when methyl orange is added. Obviously, it's basic in nature, so that's why when we add methyl orange, it becomes yellow. So over here, D is the right option. Okay, that's all for this class. Rest of the 20 MCQs will be there in my next video. Right? Thank you.